sea of faces, but you all should come up here at least once and see what I see. It's like, I feel like there's 100 people in here. So how are you guys doing? Okay? Okay. Sterling, you have a lot of work this semester coming up in a few weeks or later. Are you guys stressing right now? Yes. Grad students have it constantly. There is no ebb and flow. So I'm going to ask you that same question in about 4 weeks. Okay? Not to scare you, but part of time management is knowing where you are now versus what's coming up. Okay? And there does seem to be some pattern in undergraduate school or college where it starts out a little bit slow. You might be a little more motivated to read textbooks and to do your assignments and everything's fine and you're learning, and then things kind of ramp up very quickly. By midterm, it's kind of high stress, and so you may have noticed that first semester. If you didn't, you need to start being aware of that pattern because it seems to it's like a trend, okay, of the trajectory of where classes go every semester, okay. So with that, knowing that, start some of your projects, start assignments. It may not be due for a couple weeks, but start them now and get into that mode of just kind of, okay, I'm just going to give us a little start. I'm not going to just walk out of the room, any room, and forget about what we just learned or what I just did. I'm going to try and, roll it around in my head a little bit. Is that fun? Not always. Would you rather be doing other things and using your brain for other cool, fun things? Of course, okay, that goes throughout your lifetime. But it's going to help you in the end when you know you have sort of a rhythm going, okay? Because in a few weeks, things are going to get pretty serious, okay? So I just want to, like I said, that's one big thing about time management that I learned the hard way as a freshman and sophomore in college was, the first few weeks are not necessarily sailing through. But that's the time when you need to get ahead because you're going to feel behind by the time midterm comes around, okay? So just my little words of wisdom, all right? So I hope everyone's doing okay. Are there any questions about the class, about MindTap? I know you guys haven't had any assignment yet, so probably have not thought about statistics a whole lot. Okay. Did anybody over the weekend notice anything about stats? Did you happen to, like in current events or in a commercial or something, did anything pop up in your head? No, you haven't really learned enough yet. You're still kind of not thinking about statistics. So we'll be asking you that every once in a while too, because I want you to start being aware of what's happening with stats in real life. Okay? And if you turn on the news, wow, you're going to have numbers thrown at you. And to think about what numbers actually do tell us, where they came from, is there an agenda? Okay? Who did they sample? Right? And is there credibility behind the numbers? All right. So those are types of things that I'm going to encourage you to keep looking at. Okay, so we do have an assignment on Friday, the 18th, which is due at 11:59 p.m. So the entire day, so just keep it. We'll talk about this on Thursday, but just keep in mind that you're going to do all of the questions, but even though the odd ones will have answers, you'll be able to find the answers in the textbook. Use the odd questions to kind of help you answer the even ones. You'll be graded on everything, so do all the odd answers, okay? Just a point. If an instructor gives you an answer, make sure you use that answer, okay? So don't just skip around. Make sure that you have it all there. And then, it'll grade for you. So MindTap will automatically put a grade in there for you, and you'll know right after you're finished how well you did. Okay. Okay, so on Thursday, I asked you to come up with an analogy that demonstrated the relationship between a sample and a population. Okay? Everybody do that? Yes. Yes, okay. So what I'd like you to do right now is get into those groups of the people that you met last week. I'd just like you to share what you wrote, and then I'll just ask some of you to share with the whole class so we can kind of get in the mind frame of sample and population again, okay? So just like 3 or 4 minutes, turn to your person, turn to your peeps, and just converse about your about population and sample. Everyone's very busy talking about stats. We'll have to pull you away from that conversation. So I'm going to ask a few of you to actually get up out of your seats and come to the board and either draw, or if you don't feel comfortable drawing, just write out briefly what your analogy is. Okay? So within your group, you can pick on one person to come up and do that for us. So No pressure, just come up and then we'll kind of look at those, and I think it's probably going to help everybody, again, see the definitions and some more of the in-depth stuff regarding populations and samples. Okay, so do I have, let's do, since instead of putting one person on the spot, let's find 3 people. So there are 3 people that can come up at once and are brave and would like an A+ in the class. I'm just kidding, but
so we can draw, right?
You can totally draw.
Right. It's going to be a great one.
Sorry, I heard 3 A+.
Wow. You're really nice.
I just looked at all of the deadlines for
This is a tree so far, right?
Last day to defend graduation. Less than 3 months right now.
Mine was like almost like Thursday. Yeah.
I still haven't used the page.
You have your data. Oh, you're doing
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Okay, first of all, please put away your phones. I know we have some downtime every once in a while when we do this. I know it's so hard to not look at your phone. There's been studies done actually where people cannot literally sit for like 2 minutes in a room doing nothing. Okay, we can't do that anymore. All right. So anyway, we are going to have times where there's 2 minutes, or maybe 3 while we're watching somebody, or where there's a pause. So please try to try to not get those. I know you might be thinking about it, but the phones get distracting, and again, research indicates that you cannot multitask, okay, and get everything that you need to do done. Anyway, so a little thing. So let's get back to the real stuff. Okay, so let's look at the tree. I think it's a tree.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so we have a tree and we have some little birds in the nest. Okay, and so we have a bird that's falling out.
Yeah.
So explain to me what the population and sample is in this case.
Oh, so the population would be like the little family, right? And then the one that's falling is the sample.
Okay.
And he still has the bloodline, right? But he's falling.
Oh, is that blood?
No,
I thought they said
no.
blood.
That's just the action of falling.
Yes. Yeah.
It's part of the family. That's what I was trying to get across.
Right. Okay. So the way you're trying to say you have a group, and you're basically taking one out, right? Which would be like the sample. So what are some questions you might ask? Anyone can answer this. What are some questions you might ask about that population and that sample? Yes.
Why is the bird falling out of the tree? Or the nest?
Oh, I mean, he can be a klutz. It doesn't really apply, but like, it's like just part of the family knowing he's like, well, no. So.
Question, yes. Or, yes.
What kind of bird is it, and is it representative of all birds, or just that type of bird?
Okay, so representation. So is that bird a representation of the other birds, or like you said, is it more clumsy than the other birds? Okay, you don't have to answer that, but those are some questions that we asked pertaining directly to sample and population. Now, if we're looking at scale, okay, it looks like a bird that is not necessarily representative of the rest of the birds, okay? And so maybe the reason is because it's clumsy, maybe it's because it looks like it's, you know, more robust than the other birds and there just wasn't room, and so it got kicked out. So we don't know if there was really a difference, okay? And if that's the reason that there was truly a difference, that the other birds were different than that bird, okay, then that's something called sampling error, okay? That the one bird that was chosen, I guess, out of the distribution of the other birds was different. So there was like that difference between the sample and the population. And sometimes that's what happens, right? Whether you have kitten litters or, you know, and you have the runt that's usually kind of pushed out. You have groups of people, okay? And you have some people who aren't pulling their weight, or some people who are just kind of, you know, different in some way than everyone else. That person sort of gets targeted sometimes. Okay, so like I said, differences, okay, are really central to statistics, just as they are to real life. Okay, the person or the thing or the idea that's different, okay, tends to be not seen as not part of the group. Okay, so if someone were to be walking past that tree and saw that bird, oh my gosh, this poor little bird, you know, he is dead or he's sick and he's struggling. What would the first thing be that you would do? Or one of the first things? What was that? Yeah, maybe help it, for sure.
You can see if it's alive still.
See if it's alive,
Poke it a little bit.
poke it.
Yeah.
So I would always want to look in I'm always like wanting to look and see if there's other birds, right? Other little birds up there. So I would assume that those birds would look like that bird, okay? So if they do, then it represents it, okay? It's like, oh my God, it came from that nest. But if it didn't look like it, maybe it came from somewhere else and the mom dropped it or just came waddling along and fell over, okay? So those are the types of questions, and we can transfer those analogies to statistics. Those are the types of questions that we ask. You know, why is there that bird or that sample, why has it been taken from that population? And once it's taken, what are questions we ask about it? Can we actually say that bird or that sample is from that nest? Okay, it looks different, so maybe it's not. Okay, or maybe it's just a clumsy, bigger bird. All right, so that's how we would interpret that. Now, let's look at the other one. Cool, number of expo markers in every ASU classroom, oh my God. And the sample would be the number of expo markers in this room. Ooh, number of expo markers. Okay, so obviously our population is, yep, and expo markers in here would be, of course, the sample. All right. Okay, so I like what you did. I like that you have the illustration. So you have parts of the population, and it's clearly a part of it, right? So let's put some numbers in it. How many expo markers do you think would be at ASU? You don't have to be close. I have no clue. I'm really bad at those little things where you have to guess how many marbles are in a jar. I'm not great at that, so I don't expect that you will know. But can you just throw out a number that maybe is accurate?
5,000. I'd say probably between 10 and 50,000.
10 to 50,000?
Yeah.
10 to 15,000.
50.
10 to 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wide range, but there's just a lot of classrooms. So
It's very hard, isn't it? Right? It's hard to even speculate. So let's just say about 30,000, we don't know. Okay? So, number of expo markers in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we have 30,000 to 10. All right? I'm wondering now, and I'm going to throw this out here too. I'm wondering about colors. Okay, so I'm wondering if all the colors here represent all 30,000 colors of the markers in this university. Okay, so I'm wondering if the overall population has 2 green, let's get specific here, 3 blue, 2 black, 2 red, a green, and a red. Okay, so how likely is it that the exact number of, the exact number and colors here is representative